Watch out, rock and rollers, because today we've gone Maverick with Mega X. What is that? What episode is this?
26.
Awesome.
Yes, welcome back to Mega March. I'm with Maria, as you can tell, and Twitch is back, so thank you for coming.
Hey, absolutely, it is my pleasure to be here. Everyone go and watch this episode right now!
Do it!
Yes,
You know you want to.
It is the best episode of the entire series.
Yeah, this
It's
is
really good.
This is one of two that I'm gonna recommend that you watch first. This one and one that we've already seen, which is the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Lion Man.
Yes.
You gotta see the bottom and you gotta see the top.
Yes.
And then everything else is just the meat.
You have to hit. You have to. If you can't enjoy Ruby Spears Mega Man at their Lion Men, then you don't deserve them at their Mega X.
That's true. All right. Well, before we get into the episode, I wanted to tell like a little story of the first time that I saw this one.
Already, I'm interested.
All right. Well, so the show was, I guess, re-syndicated because like it had been off the air for a while, and then I guess a local channel had picked it up, and it had this really weird time slot. It was like 6 a.m. on like Sunday or something.
Oh my god.
It's like, I'm not getting up for that. I'm sleeping.
That's some god.
That's how I used to catch it when I was a kid. It would always come on at like 6 a.m. and I would
Before
just
school.
randomly be randomly be up for it.
As you're changing and eating your breakfast.
I don't know how I originally caught it, but anyway, so this time, I'm a little bit more savvy with the VCR, so I'm like, I'm gonna record all these episodes because I saw on a GeoCities website one of them has Mega Man X, and that's gonna be the coolest thing in the world when I see it. And then like week after week would pass. I was like, oh, I've seen this episode, I've seen this one. Oh, this is a new one, but it's not what I'm looking for. And then I eventually gave up, and I just gave up. I was like, all right, I'll just watch them as they come.
Did you DVR these things?
Oh, I used a VCR.
Oh.
Put them on tape. This is the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
And just one morning, I turn it on, watch the opening, and then it says Mega X, and I was just like, oh my god, finally! And I watched it.
You built out like a Rich Evans. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
I can hear it. It's perfect.
I'm not Rich Evans laughing.
Yeah.
But it was so magical because like I wanted it so bad, and then it finally happened, and then I brought the tape to my friend's house, and we watched it together, and then I watched it again.
And then you became a Mega Man.
He's the one that I know.
You're
And
the one that I know.
but it was so good.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
It was so good. It went beyond my expectations.
Yeah, I had a similar experience when I was little. I think I caught it this is back when it was on its first run. This is after I had been into the series for like a long time. I shouldn't say a long time. I mean, I was little. How long is a long time? But whatever. And again, I used to catch them at 6 a.m. before school. Just randomly, they'd come on. I don't even remember what channel it was on. It was whatever channel that had all the Deke animation stuff. All the Deke cartoons. And one day I'm watching it, and this is after I had gotten my the story I told last time. This is after I got my copy of Mega Man X for Super Nintendo, because my mom knew that I liked the Ruby Spears Mega Man cartoon. So all of a sudden I see an episode titled Mega X, and I'm like, Mega X? What the heck is Mega X? What is this? So I watched it, and like slowly the gears are turning in my head, and I'm like, is this the one with Mega Man X? And then I pulled out like my game cartridge, and I looked at it, and I'm watching the TV screen, I'm looking at my cartridge, and I'm like, it's happening! And then I'm like, where the hell is he? There's no Mega Man X in this. Is this gonna... So I was like, oh, this is cool. This will be like the one where like Mega Man gets upgraded into like Mega Man X, because that was my theory at the time, because I didn't know anything about the lore. I was just a stupid kid.
They're both blue,
Yeah, they're both blue. It's vaguely similar. And then he jumps out of the time portal, and I was like, whoa, like it just blew my mind to see those two Mega Mans on the same screen. It was really incredible. Cool. And I still get that feeling every time I watch this. This episode does an excellent job of conveying power, hype, and just action. It is so hype. It is the epitome of 90s hype. It's beautiful. It's just great. So, and does anyone else have any other personal stories they want to add, or do you want to jump right into the plot summary?
I think we should just jump into it. I think the first time you saw it was either tonight or when we got these DVDs a couple years ago.
I think so. So the episode starts off at a plasma power plant, and Dr. Light is kind of showing this news crew how they obtain the plasma power, which also plasma power water.
Well, that's the stuff that's in Eddie's energy cans.
Oh, yeah, okay. Green.
It's the same stuff. It's like green and glowing and
I'm
guessing just electro-powered water. Ooh, electrolyte water for robots.
It's got what they crave.
It's the Gatorade of robots.
It's the E.
Power
it's just
instead of the G.
Swim with some E.
Oh my god! But, yes.
Light is like, I invented these Lightanium rods. Named it after myself, I did.
I have a problem with those. Again, the science nerd in me is coming out. His exact explanation for them is that using Lightanium rods, we can then transform them into plasma power, which I'm like, alright, cool. But then he's like, I developed a chemical reaction which creates Lightanium rods, and then those Lightanium rods gets turned into the plasma power. I'm like, that's not how that works. Why doesn't the chemical reaction create the Lightanium? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's an unnecessary.
Or create the plasma power. It's like there's a middleman for no reason. But
Dr. Light really wanted something named after him. He's like, none of my robots are named Light.
Yeah,
what am I gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It was confusing. Yeah, he could have come up with like Light Rock. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I think this is the only episode that I can think of that flat out says that Roll's arm weapon thingy is based on plasma power.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I kind of love that.
That's interesting. I know they mentioned like Mega Man's is obviously based on plasma power because that's what he's shooting. I guess that explains how Roll is able to pull out random appliances. She must use plasma power to transform the insides of her arm to whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and that she can blend just robots apart.
Yeah, well,
relative ease.
I'm telling you, Roll in this series is like a serial murderer. Like, you just need to put blood squibs over everything. It's disgusting, all the things that she does.
Straight up gangster.
She doesn't know how to hold back.
She really don't, and it's kind of great. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. She's cool. One thing I wanted to get out of the way really quick is that this episode is extremely well animated. It looks like a real professional quality episode. It's really smooth. The action is really cool. I don't know what studio they hired to do the animation, but it is definitely not whoever worked on Lion Men. It is just great, and I just wanted to get that out of the way. You're going to be hearing me gush about the animation a lot. I think there was only 2 points in the entire episode where I was like, that didn't really make any sense. Like, it wasn't animated bad, it was just like, huh? Like, that's what you did? There wasn't like a more efficient way of doing this?
Yeah, for sure.
But that only happens like twice. So the rest of the episode is just pure silk. It's buttery smooth goodness. It's great. And yeah, so as she was saying, Dr. Light is like, I perfected these things that can make this power. And then I just wanted to point out, I think this is the first time Rush says plasma power. That was really cool.
Power.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You know what? We've talked about Rush's voice actor before, and this came up in a recording the other day, but the episode, as we're recording this, isn't out yet. But Rush is just Mega Man.
Wait, what?
Like, the voice?
It's just him?
Yeah, it's Ian Corlett doing both voices.
That's beautiful. I love
So
it.
now, when I meet him, I'm going to ask if all the Rush stuff was improvised, because it really feels like it, like 90% of the time.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It had to have been. Plasma power.
And then in this episode, when they're in the plasma
Speaking of Rush.
power, Rush notices a little, is it bat?
The
baton thing, and
yeah, he's the one that notices.
He misses, and then he jumps. Like he ends up falling into the plasma
power.
Plasma power.
And then he just flies and gets it, and he brings it. He's like, "Here you go."
And he's like,
"Good boy, Rush."
Yeah, I did it good. And there's a running theme in this episode. It's that everybody, no matter the character, will say plasma power. Like, it's not, I need plasma for this. Even Wiley's like, I need the plasma power.
Yeah, everything is. You can do a neat drinking game with this episode. Is if you take a shot every time someone says Litanium rods or says plasma power.
You'll be dead in 5 minutes.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, we need the Litanium rods, or Vile saying, we need the Litanium rods, or whatever. It's always the Litanium rods. Everyone's after those stupid things.
Well, they're important, and they're worth a lot in the future.
He's going to ruin the economy, okay, by doing that. It doesn't work that way, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
You know what?
Yeah.
So, the Batontons, we see that, it's infiltration, and it's got a camera on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how Wily has cameras everywhere? Does he just have Batonton stations?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes so much more sense than just he can see everywhere because he's Wily,
That makes a lot more sense, but it just makes me think, like, why didn't we ever just see one now and then? Like, he's looking into a camera, just show a Batonton flying away every once in a while, and we'd be like, oh, I get it. I mean, that's my headcanon, that it is Batontons. You are right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
or at least it is now.
Yeah, it is now.
It is now. I'm saying it is.
But, so, Wily is like, I'm gonna attack this, this plant and steal these things. Oh no, the Security Defense Force. And the whole time I was like, if only he had a giant spider.
Yeah, it's the same stupid defense system from the Robo Spider episode.
Well, we can see how effective it actually is when there's not a giant spider involved.
Yeah, but it's... Okay. Jets are flying in over the top of the factory, and instead of anti-air guns, which can, shoot down the airplanes because the bullets are really fast, he creates a set of arms that can snatch airplanes out of the air and then throw them into other airplanes. Do you have... Why doesn't the jet just explode when it hits the arm going that speed?
Because it grabbed him.
I mean,
I should have shot through him like a bullet, like realistically.
Because Dr. Light invented it. He's a smart man.
It should have just hit the claws and blown up, but no, instead he grabs it and he throws it into other airplanes. And Proto Man has the audacity to say, wow, nice security system. Get the hell out of here.
No.
Shut the hell up, Scott McNeil. That is not a good security system.
It's effective.
It is oddly effective. So you know what? I will give them this time. But that, in real life, is so impractical, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
He used the exact amount of, like, reverse momentum to catch it out of the sky without pulling it up. Just so he could blow up the other guys.
Why not make like a flak cannon and just fill the air with flak or something? Like, like little... Flak is basically like shrapnel in the air, like little explosions that they use, so that if planes fly through it, it screws them up. It's like, that's what flak is if you were to look it up. Or here's another thing. Actually, I guess this question gets answered. I was going to say, what happens if Dr. Wily attacks from the ground? And I guess he'll just spit oil on the ground and make the tank spin out.
Yep, there's always an oil slick scene. I was kind of waiting for it, and
Why?
It happened, and I was just like, mm-hmm.
So
and then, but one of the cool things about that scene is that freaking Roll like sucks up the flames that the tanks throw out, and then she spits it out at them.
Yeah, that's another thing. I thought they were shooting like plasma bolts or like bullets, like tank shells.
Yeah.
No, they're shooting fire apparently that you can just vacuum up into your vacuum arm because why not?
But it was still cool to see, Roll shoot out freaking flamethrower from
Yeah.
a little vacuum.
Now I've got your power.
And then she's just like, okay, no biggie. Like, it's normal Roll. Like, she just puts it back in her arm.
Yeah.
And, I'm Roll.
Look,
that was a good
roll. Roll has killed a man before. Do you really think this is anything for her right now?
Roll has ripped someone's face off.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah, without any remorse.
She gonna stab somebody. She gonna shank somebody.
There's one funny little, like, I don't even think it's a bit of animation as much as it is just the keyframe right here. It's when Mega Man is like, it's like, oh no, I need more firepower. So I'm gonna jump inside this tank.
Oh yeah.
And then steal it, and he's like, I'll take it from here, and he's just making this like goofy face, like, it's drawn small because it's far away.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. It's weird. Like, that's the part of what I'm talking about. Is the episode on the whole is drawn really well. But every once in a while, there's just like, I mean, I guess they can't help it. It's like someone's drawn at a distance, or like they're at a weird angle, or just tiny little keyframe issues. But for the most part, it's basically pretty much the best animated episode in the entire series.
Yeah, it looks good overall, but I mean, you can fine tooth comb anything to find little bits. But I just remember, even as a kid, I was always like, he's making a funny face.
Yeah, I remember the faces in this episode were really interesting.
Yeah, Wily makes a few good ones.
Yeah, he makes a few good ones, and I always liked Mega Man's face when he's getting, well, we'll get to that, when he's getting shocked later. So yeah.
Well, so the Robot Masters show up, and Snake Man's there, and it turns out that he's almost completely useless to the episode because cooler characters show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
why did they even bring him back? I thought his episode was over and done with.
I think it's more like a fake out, if you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Snake Man is the boss of the episode.
Again.
Yeah. And, I mean, Snake Man's been in a few episodes, hasn't he, though?
He's been I know he's been a bot transfer.
Yeah, there's a handful of episodes that feature, like, specifically, I guess because he's, like, a cool villain and his power is, like, kid-friendly enough for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Plus,
unlike poor
cool.
Napalm Man, who got cut out of the show entirely.
Yeah,
he's only in the intro.
He's at least in the intro, yeah.
I always wondered when he was going to show up.
He shows up at 20 seconds in every episode.
Yeah, I guess you could say he's in every episode. Snake Man also, what was his name? I can't remember the voice actor's name, and I don't want to embarrass myself. He plays Mega Man.
Ian James Corlett.
Yes, Ian Corlett. He's also played by the same voice actor, so I always think it's funny that in the episode where they switch bodies, it's again just him talking.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
What?
Oh, Corlett plays Mega Man and Snake Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
So the episode where they switch bodies, that must be hard.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you do.
At least he's not doing his stupid French accent. Guards! Mega Man is trying to escape! At least he didn't do any of that.
Oh, the baguettes.
Oh, the baguettes.
Speaking of baguettes, Mega Man shoots a hole in Gutsman's chest.
Oh
Just
my
saying.
god. When I saw that scene, it made me immediately think of Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Where they're showcasing... I love that movie to death so much. They're showcasing the Chosen One's powers in the beginning of the movie. And he's like, oh, he got really strong, whatever. And then he punches a dude in the chest, and it puts a perfect hole in his chest. And the narrator's like, I mean, crap, man. That's like, it's like a stomach plug on the floor over there. I'm not even sure how that's possible. Like, where's all his bones and guts and stuff? And it's just a perfect plug of like.
And then at the end of the movie, in like the after credits, he's got the plug on a chain.
Yeah, and he's swinging his gut plug thing all around like a wet.
Oh my god!
That movie is great. If you love stupid humor and or kung fu movies, go check out Kung Pao.
And I want to watch Kung Pao, but we watched Mega X instead.
Yes, we'll watch Kung Pao together
good.
someday.
So, after Mega Man shoots that big old hole through Gutsman's chest like a badass.
He charged up off screen.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's how he did it.
Before, like, was it after the tanks came? He was like, I need more plasma power or whatever.
Yeah, that's why he got the tank.
Yeah.
Because he needed more
so
power.
He probably, like, siphoned plasma power from a tank because reasons.
Now I've got your power.
And then he shoots Gutsman, and then Snake Man and Cut Man come out.
They're bumblers.
They bumble hard.
They bumble hard. He ends
Snake
up, like,
Man,
pretty much dismantling them.
Snake Man did the thing from Spaceballs, where they had, like, the pipe.
Yeah, he's got a pipe on his arm.
Yeah.
He shot the plasma power, or the something or other, through the pipe, and then the pipe curved the bullet around, and it hit Cutman and killed him.
Well, no, Snake Man had the pipe on his buster, and he shot a search snake, and
That's what
went
it was.
sideways.
Yes.
And it killed
both of them, yeah.
And then, I love that, they're sitting here dismembered, and, like, decapitated, so there's just heads sitting there, and they're arguing. It's like, this was your fault!
Yeah, I remember that, and he's like...
I like
he's
that,
like, you really screwed up this time! And he's like, it wasn't me, it was you! You're the screw up, or whatever.
And then they just
get
magneted up
yeah.
into the ship.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then the real episode starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Immediately after.
The real episode starts, where Dr. Wily...
Vortex.
Yes, Dr. Wily is explaining, like, you fools, I needed that Litanium, because it's going to power my Super Blaster. And I just want to point out, for those of you who enjoy Mega Man lore, that blaster looks kind of similar to the Enigma Cannon from Mega Man X5.
Oh my god, it does.
It looks very similar. I mean, that's probably just a coincidence, but it's really cool. A lot of the design work in this is actually really good. Like the factory, the Litanium Rod factory where they make the plasma power, looks like Flame Mammoth's factory, which I think was on purpose. I don't know. It looks just like it if you look on the map for the actual game.
Oh, it does. Yeah,
it looks
I know
very
exactly
similar. And as stupid as the arms are actually really cool looking. They had a lot of detail on them. And Dr. Wily's Super Blaster is really well designed and looks super cool.
It looks cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome. I want to make like a model of it or something. But anyway, he's describing his thing and he's like, like, what am I going to do? I need to get those Litanium rods and there's no way to get in with the security system. And, I'm starting to realize my Dr. Wily at the moment sounds a lot more like Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Anyway... So, Deus Ex Machina, literally, a time portal opens up, and Vile and Spark Mandrill from the Mega Man X series, if you didn't already guess that was going to happen, step out into Dr. Wily's lab, and they explain to Dr. Wily that they're from the future, and Litanium rods are extremely valuable in the future, and since Dr. Wily knows the schematics for the plant, they want to get them from Dr. Wily, break into the factory, and steal the rods for themselves. So they punch Dr. Wily's computer and somehow download the information through his fist. And
that's not how you do it?
I mean, if I want to show off, maybe. So Vile basically explains that he is a Reploid from the future.
Reploid, yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because Reploid is the Japanese name for a Reploid. They just took out the "li" from Reploid.
Is that how it was localized in the X1 instruction book by chance?
I don't think so. In X1 it was called Reploid.
It was? Okay.
So I think this episode might have been created concurrently as X1 was coming out. Because he calls himself a Reploid. And one thing I wanted to point out again, this is just the lore nerd of me speaking. Vile says that he's programmed for destroying humans or whatever.
That lines up with my Prime programming.
Yeah, Reploids are not programmed. I'm sorry. I need to get this out of the way. Because Ruby Spears Mega Man, which we all know is well known for being completely accurate to the games, screwed this up, and I am very angry that they screwed this up. But, so, yeah, he's a Reploid from the future. He downloads the plans, he goes back to the plasma power plant, and he's going to steal the Litanium rods. And then when he's there, Mega Man and Roll are like, who are these weird robots? We better go stop them. And then Vile and Spark Mandrill just wipe the floor with Mega Man and Roll.
Mega Man
Yeah.
shots are just bouncing off.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And he's like legitimately scared because he's like, why is this happening?
He's
Like,
like-
this is.
Yeah.
I don't-
Vile was like, your primitive weapons can't affect our whatever's.
Trilenium.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
it says
what-
they're made out of
Made
solid
for the-
botanium.
it's just
A
for
millennia.
he said it won't be discovered for centuries, which another lore bit, a little bit too far out there, Vile.
Yeah, they mentioned this later, but they appear to have come from several hundred years in the future, which is not accurate. It's only 100 years in the future, but you know what? Whatever. There's already enough inaccuracies. The point is, this is cool. He says we're made out of solid botanium. It won't be invented for 100 years or something. So Mega Man's plasma shots don't even work on them. And Vile, I forget. No, I think it was Spark Mandrill shocks the two of them, Mega Man and Roll, and pins them to like a thing. And they're like, "What are we gonna do? Ah, we can't defeat them." And then slow zoom, fade to black for dramatic effect. Commercial break.
Yes.
And then, when they come back, again, they're still getting shocked or whatever, and another time portal opens up, and of course, Mega Man X steps out, and it is the most badass thing ever.
He comes out like a champion.
He comes out like a boss. But before I get to that, I need to rewind, because I made some special notes regarding the scene with Vile in it. I just need to go back to this for a minute. I don't know if you...
I've got one back there as well. So
I don't know if you caught this. Dr. Wily presses a button.
It's exactly where I was gonna go.
And Gutsman and the other robots walk through. They run past a hole in the wall, go through a door, and then say, "We heard the silent alarm, Dr. Wily."
We heard the signal. Yeah.
We heard the silent alarm.
First of all, how do you hear a silent alarm? And second, why did you bother going through the door when you ran past a hole big enough for all three of you to walk through?
Usually Gutsman is the one doing the...
Yeah.
That was just such a perfect... Like, that whole sequence is such a multi-layered joke. It is so good. It's beautiful.
I don't think I ever noticed them running past the hole, because I'm always too distracted by, "We heard the silent alarm!"
Yeah, if you go back and watch that scene, they run past the hole that Vile blew in the wall, and then go through the door. And I'm like, you could have just stepped through the hole! Like, that's really good comedy right there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, fast forwarding back to the present, since this episode
Mega Man
deals
X
with
comes
that.
out and Roll's like, ooh, who's this tall robot?
I'm like, calm down, Roll. He's your younger brother, okay? Mega Man already almost made us lose our TVY rating, when he was getting the hots for you in the first episode. We don't need you eyeing up your younger brother. It's bad optics. So, Mega Man X comes over, and I swear to Christ, they must have played X1, because Mega Man X grabs the ball of electricity with his bare hands and straight up Hadokens it at Vile and Spark Mandrill.
Yeah.
I really wonder if that was a reference.
I don't know. It looks like it was, because like he grabs it and throws it like a Hadoken, mostly,
Yeah, but the way that X is acting, like not.
He's like bad cop.
No, not that. Not like his, like emotions and stuff, but just the way he's moving and stuff. It feels like he should have had the capsules, because he like clearly dashes.
Oh yeah, he does like a dash at some point.
Yeah, and like it seems like he was at least beaten Chill Penguin first, so he's got the dash. But they're like,
yeah. Well, if he did, he would have used Shotgun Ice on Spark Mandrill.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, I get why. Let's keep them both looking vanilla.
Yeah.
But still,
the reason why they probably kept him looking that way, and the reason why they probably made him look so awesome, is because they wanted to show like, look at the power difference in X versus Mega Man. See how much better X is because he's from the future and all that stuff. And yeah, they probably were going to keep the armors like off the table for a while, because I believe me and you talked about this at one time. This episode is actually a soft pilot for a proposed Mega Man X Ruby Spears cartoon that they were going to do. That's right, kiddies. We almost had a Mega Man X cartoon at some point. Unfortunately, at the time, Mega Man not necessarily Mega Man, but just video game cartoons in general were kind of losing popularity. And then Power Rangers happened, and that was such a giant phenomenon that basically they were like, there's no market for this anymore, so they just kind of closed up shop, which is a shame because
it's like, well, we're done.
Yeah, nothing else could compare.
Yeah, so you know, they were just kind of in the wrong business at the wrong time. But man, I would have loved to have had a Mega Man X cartoon. My only question is, how the hell would they have handled Zero? Like,
are we talking design-wise, or just, like, why would he be there?
Design-wise...
I was really hoping he would come out.
I mean, Zero would make sense, story-wise, because, you know, it was always really cool when you saw Mega Man and Roll teaming up, and even more cool in, like, I think the episode is called Brobots, where Mega Man and Proto Man, like, team up, and they're, like, you know, like, partners. That's, like, a really cool thing. Like, so I think the whole partner dynamic would have worked really well to have two characters as the main characters, X and Zero.
Yeah. Or, you know, Zero could have been, like, you know, back to Power Rangers, kind of like the Green Ranger, you know, comes in at the
last moment to save the day.
Yeah.
But basically, my question is, how would they have handled Zero design-wise? Because you can take everyone else and kind of, like manly them up a bit in Ruby Spears designs, but you can't. How do you do that for Zero? Because Zero is, his design on the surface to an American audience is so feminine. How do you give him manly boobs? Like, how do you handle that?
Zero
is part of his design.
You put like squares instead of the rounds.
Yeah. Or like I think I was discussing this with you.
Or they could be like stickers, you know, like.
Well, I was thinking, like, just have him have just, like, a flat, you know, like, normal chest with the muscles, and then, instead of having the Z on his shoulder, it's, like, on his chest, and it'd be, like, a green Z, so it kind of gets the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I'm trying to flex my creativity.
My idea for him, if they were going to do it, would be, instead of making them look like boobs, like, have them be more flat and, like, kind of set into the chest, like a set of, Jeep headlights, and then the vent that's normally on it. Well, that would have been X2, wouldn't it?
That would have been X2, yeah.
But the point is, make the front of his chest look more like the grill of a car, and make the boob lights look more like headlights. And I think that would have been more like cool and like, oh wow, look at that, he's like really tough. He has this kind of like industrial car look to him, or something, as opposed to you being all girly or whatever. And then you could just give him like really long hair that looks, I don't know, wild or crazy or something. But then I'm afraid that they would have made Zero just act like a crazy, like, you know, hair metal guy or something.
Yeah,
I don't think they would have known what to do with his hair, and they just would have made him insane or something stupid.
Well,
like
you know, maybe they would have seen him. You know, this is just becoming what ifs now. But they might have just seen him and then had no notes and be like, oh, that's Roll X.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I thought when I played Mega Man X for the first time.
See, there you go, it's canon.
Again, I've said this before. When I played Mega Man X for the first time, I thought Zero was Roll, because they're both red, they both have long blonde hair, they both have blue eyes, and they both have a white buster. And, like, I just thought, oh man, Roll is so badass. Like, I was like, I mean, I don't know, I thought that was really cool. I kind of still want to see that. Like,
maybe they did plan for Zero to be Roll. They were like, make a sharp helmet and he's a dude, just to confuse you.
I think realistically, if they were gonna adapt it, they would have probably explained in their pilot that Mega Man X is an upgraded Mega Man in the future, and that Zero was an upgraded Proto Man in the future.
Like Proto Man eventually reformed or something.
Yeah, just for like simplicity's sake for kids. You know, something to that effect. Well, probably would have kept everything. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If we went with that theory, okay, so I don't know exact lore of Mega Man because I don't play the game, but
good thing I'm here.
Doesn't Proto Man have like a finite like life?
He does, but that wasn't introduced in Ruby Spears at all. So
okay, so if Zero was, and this is just something that occurred to me, if Zero is the upgraded version of Proto Man, well then that would make sense, because Zero ends up getting the Sigma virus, right? So it's kind of like he he's still sick and he gets the cure, but he Deadpools and he like is still sick.
Oh, he's just always fixing himself.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
It's a bit far off there, but I mean, it would make sense. At least for me.
I feel you there.
Why he was like vulnerable to the Sigma virus is because he wasn't fully like complete yet.
Right. Something like that could work. And that would make sense in the Ruby Spears continuity too, only because Proto Man was kind of put together ramshackle by Dr. Wily. They took their out of control little kid robot that really hates the interior decorating and needed to knock down that wall.
I always thought that scene was funny.
It is really funny.
Turn on and he like just starts wrecking the place.
Immediately runs up to that wall.
Guidance system.
Yeah. I have many problems with that. I mean, I wasn't there for the recording of that, but in what universe does guidance system mean I'm going to aggressively tear down a wall? Like, do you mean a moral guidance system? Or do you mean like a I don't know where I'm going guidance? It doesn't make any sense, but that's besides the point.
It is. But, okay, back to the present, which is the future past.
Which is the past of the future, correct. Okay, I'm following.
But, X is so incredibly destructive. Like, my god.
Yes, he really is.
I gotta take down Maverick bots at all costs!
Yeah, that is so how he is. Like, Mega Man's like, wow, you're packing some serious blaster power there. And he's like, you need it when you take down Maverick bots.
Yeah,
I'm like whoa, alrighty, John Wayne, slow down. Like, X comes in here and acting like Ash from the Evil Dead. He's got his boomstick on his arm,
that's what I got.
Just annihilating everything. And, like, what's funny is that it's supposed to show how destructive and powerful X is. So I thought maybe by the end of the episode they were going to be, like, teaching X, like, hey, you have to show some restraint or whatever. But instead, Spark Mandrill and Vile just kind of run away comically. Like, I can almost hear, like, the Three Stooges, like, whoop, 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 as they're running away from X's, like, blaster fire. And there's never a point at which X is kind of like, you know, like, yeah, maybe I overdid it, you know, but the future is a very chaotic place, and so I don't know how to relax or whatever. Like, that would have been a cool story moment. Give you some hints as to how bad the future is. So Vile and Spark Mandrill get away, and then X is like, take me back to Dr. Light and I'll explain everything, which causes so many time paradoxes, but let's not get into that. Right now, like, the time traveler in me is currently, you know, screaming internally, but we'll forgive it this time.
I was too. I was like, wait, isn't that a bad thing for him to be his creator?
No, and just X saying, "Hi, Dr. Light, you created me."
Yeah.
Like
that would cause Light to potentially not build him now.
I know, and truthfully, if he came back from the future and said, "Oh, there's this guy who, you know, Lightanium," like, he could have just not built the plasma power plant, like, at all.
Well, maybe it's essential. Maybe it's essential for the Maverick Hunters.
I don't know.
Oh, who knows?
But while they're in the lab, X is so freaking tall compared to Mega.
Yeah, when Mega Man and X,
he's like
when they
JoJo
shake
tall.
hands, like, he's 165 centimeters, you know, and like, all of the, like, I was gonna say the 21XX bots, but I guess the 23-4XX bots
the future bots.
They're extremely tall.
Yeah, and what's crazy is I always thought in Ruby Spears everyone was a lot taller, like crazy tall. Like, Mega Man looks about as tall as X should in the default style of the games.
Yeah.
But I think that was just the style of the show, because when X is on screen, I feel like to scale with everyone else, the scale is correct, like him in comparison to Mega Man and Dr. Light, but the problem is that because everyone is already really tall because of the style that you're drawing them in, X looks extremely tall now.
Yeah, he's like 7.5 feet, maybe.
He could be on the NBA, man. He's, like, incredible. He's just super, super tall. And he's just dwarfing everyone. And I don't know. It was just crazy that that all happened.
Yeah. But going back to X's design, one thing has always bothered me, and it's his neck. Like, it would be so much better if it was silver instead of
that's how
flesh
Mega
color.
Man's is too.
Oh
I don't know why.
I didn't even notice that. You're totally right.
Yeah,
Mega
it just
Man's
like
neck is
it
silver.
looks. He looks more like a guy wearing, a costume than.
Yeah.
It's just the neck changes so much.
Speaking of that kind of thing, just later in the episode, there's a part where X is where they're in the river and like they're trying to get out of the raging river. The hand that grabs the bush that pulls them ashore is tan color, and then the other in the same shot, the hand that grabs Mega Man is white, which I just
I saw that.
That
One
was
of his
weird.
gloves fell off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did you see that that Dr. Kane was pretty much just Dr. Cossack?
Yes, I made a note of that. Dr. Kane is just Dr. Cossack for some reason.
Well, I mean, if X2 wasn't out by then,
yeah, but X1 had artwork
that's the
of
first
Dr.
time
Kane.
you see him.
There's artwork of Dr. Kane in X1.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
it's in the instruction manual, and I know that they had the source material because when they're describing who Sigma is in the future, the last picture of Sigma that they show is like a trace over of like official artwork. There's like a picture of Sigma doing that exact same pose. They just traced it. Weirdly in this episode, they spelled Sigma with a C.
With a C, yeah.
I don't know why they spelled it like that. I mean, they know that his symbol is the Sigma symbol, like the Greek alphabet, because Vile has it on his forehead. So you know how Sigma is. Yeah, they know how Sigma is spelled, but they spelled it with a C. And again, they put a thing on him showing that he's made out of solid botanium. Which, I mean, what does that mean, solid botanium? Like, is it normally porous? Do you mean that, like, are his body parts just solid hunks of metal attached to joints? Like, I don't get it. Like,
yes,
yeah, I don't understand how it works. But Sigma weirdly is the exact same design he is in the games. Like, I guess they just didn't have time to redesign him. And same thing for Spark Mandrill, with one difference: Spark Mandrill doesn't have a big old red booty.
You don't got them booty eyes.
He doesn't have the booty eyes. The red gems on his butt aren't there, and they're instead replaced with a big old blue gem.
Eyes on his butt.
He does, because he's a mandrill, and mandrills have big red butts.
He's a mandrill.
Yeah.
Nice.
Going back to the design aspect, I also really thought it was cool that they got X's eye color correct. That was nice.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even really notice.
Yeah,
but,
he has green eyes.
I think it's good to not notice things like that, because then you tend to notice things when it's incorrect, but when you don't notice, it's fine.
Yeah,
generally.
I like how which I don't even, this is kind of random, like when he was like changing out his hands, like it did it so fast, like,
oh, that was
like,
cool.
Dang.
I like that.
When
Like,
upgraded robot, like you switched from CD to hand to something else to Buster to
Yeah,
that was really cool. I really love X's design in this.
it's cool. Like, I like the flat bit on his Buster, like how it's
the little fin that he has going along.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like at least in my head it's like a shock repulsor,
Yeah,
Okay.
something like a thing he can hold on to when aiming the Buster.
because
or, it shock and it gives him
Yeah, something
keeps him
like
steady.
that.
Keeps him steady. Yeah, because in the game sprites, he holds his Buster and Mega Man doesn't.
X uses
holds
proper form. Mega Man is just lazy and sloppy.
Yeah.
because he's only 10 years old.
Yeah,
Not in this.
He's
He's a teenager in this one.
questionable teenager.
yeah, he's the age of 11 teen. We don't know how old he is.
11
There we go.
teen.
Did you notice? Did you notice that in this episode, Vile keeps up the Mega Man X tradition of swearing?
Does he?
He keeps saying "damn."
Oh, shut up. Speaking of things that people keep saying, I really got annoyed with the fact that they kept calling him Mega Man X.
Mega Man X.
Oh,
Like, people roast me all the time in my comment section on my videos where they're like, you don't have to call him Mega Man X. His name is just X. And I'm like, no. His full name is Mega Man X. So it's appropriate to say that sometimes. Sometimes it makes a sentence flow better. Sometimes it just sounds better to say the whole thing. sometimes just calling him X is like too short and like there's not enough syllables in the sentence to like sound correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But in this show, they overcompensate. They just keep calling him Mega Man X.
I think
like,
it's just to drive it home.
Yeah, it's like, we get it, they're different, but you can just call one Mega Man and call the other one X, and we'll know who you're talking about. You don't have to keep reminding us that he's Mega Man X. It's like, how awkward is it in a conversation where Dr. Wily's like, you know, go my robots, go and destroy Mega Man und Mega Man X. It's like, you know, we get it. We know who you mean, Dr. Wily. You don't have to say the whole thing.
You could just point.
You just, but, okay, we get it. The big guy.
More question, since, you know, his name is Mega Man X, but is X even... Like, he's not aware of that, right?
I think that
X
he is.
As far as he knows.
We never really know, because I don't know if it's kept secret from him. But no
I know
one...
Sigma knows.
As far as I can tell, the people besides X who would know are Dr. Kane, because he found him, and it literally says Mega Man X schematics or specifications when he starts up his thing.
Yeah.
So he knows that's his name. Sigma knows. Serges knows, the Dr. Wily Reploid body from X2, one of the X Hunters. And I think Alia knows, because in X6 they establish that Alia had to kill Ground Scaravich, one of the bosses from X6. Before he went Maverick, he was just like a regular researcher. He went into a forbidden area, which is Dr. Light's lab, which is apparently closed off to everyone. No one's allowed to be there, which I guess Alia has like access to it or something. And so he goes in there, I guess, to steal information or something, and Alia had to kill him. I don't know how she did that, but I'm guessing maybe he wasn't like strong before he became a Maverick. He was just like a regular dude.
Yeah, so, it was probably just a smart bot.
Yeah.
That one that's like, X, you have to go here.
Yes.
Report.
She's the pink Reploid, the only female Reploid that we get for many years.
She's token girl.
I don't talk smack about Alia. She is a smart, intelligent, independent woman, and I might have a crush on her.
She's so smart that she wants you to know every 5 steps.
Yes. Ash, did you get that thing?
She
Ash,
can't.
Did you get the milk? Ash, did you remember your buster?
Did you get that thing I sent you?
Did you remember your buster? Oh, damn, I forgot.
Oh, darn. And she's like, X, check your other arm, X. Come on.
Right on my thing.
But Alia, I think Alia is one of the only other people who knows that his full name is Mega Man X. Most everyone else just calls him X, probably because Mega Man X is a mouthful. But I don't know if X actually knows himself. I need to go do more digging and find out, but I don't know why he wouldn't. Like, why wouldn't Dr. Kane tell him, like, this is your full name?
Well, do you think he could have assumed that it was, like, a title, you know, instead of a name?
Possibly, but then it would be weird that only, like, a handful of people ever address him with that. Like, in X2, Serges, when he's talking, it's only in the Japanese text for some reason. I don't know what is with the localization team for American or North American Mega Man games, but they suck. They cut out all the cool bits that like tied back to the classic series. The Japanese version of the script has so much information. When you beat when you're fighting Serges the first time, I believe he says something along the lines of he's about to call you Rockman. He says like rock, and then he like cuts himself off, and then he's like, I mean X or something to that effect, meaning he's confusing him for like Mega Man the original. And then when you beat him for the final time, I believe he has a cutscene where he says something, or maybe I don't know, it's one of the cutscenes. He says something like, "This is regrettable. I was defeated by Dr. Light's Memento robot," implying that this is Light's final creation, and he knows that, which is not something anyone else seems to know.
Right. They really need to... Someone needs to do a ROM hack that just
puts back the dialogue. Yeah, and there's hints like this everywhere. It's so bad that they cut it all out.
Yeah, I don't know, and they call X Mega Man, but...
Yeah, everyone calls him Mega Man, but in the Japanese version, only the people I mentioned before call him Mega Man. No one else calls him Mega Man. Everyone else just calls him X, which implies, again, that they're the only people who know that he's called Mega Man. But for some reason, in the American localization, instead of just calling him X, which is less characters and less work, they translated it to Mega Man, like in big bold letters with a space, and it's like Mega Man, that's his name. In case you didn't know what game you were playing, his name is Mega Man. It's like, okay, we get it.
We got it.
And then they corrected that in all future games where they don't call him Mega Man anymore.
Good.
Yes. Where was I? Oh,
So Spark Mandrill.
Spark Mandrill has 3 lines in the entire episode.
Yeah, like I wrote down. I put Spark Mandrill gets 1 line, and then I marked through it 2. And I marked through it 3. Like it's 3 lines, and he just sounds like Ivan Drago.
Do you count the 4th line as his grunts at the end of the episode when he gets hit?
I'm not gonna count it. That's
like a sound.
Yeah.
I always thought he's sounded.
Just Ivan Drago.
I always thought he sounded more like they were trying to do like a bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. Because,
okay, I'll give you that.
Because, and hear me out, his 2 most prominent lines are when the helicopter is ready. He says, like, the chopper is ready, or whatever he says.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like a joke on Arnold Schwarzenegger's Get to the Chopper. And later, when Mega Man X and Mega... Well, I'm saying it myself
Yep,
now.
I was about to point it out.
When X and Mega Man come flying in on Rush and the Sky Cycle, Spark Mandrill points and he goes, "Dab back," which I'm assuming is like a reference to I'll be back.
I'll be back. Yeah.
And the episode is about time travel. So, I mean, that's Terminator right there.
Huh.
So, I mean...
You've opened my eyes.
I mean, that's just like the conspiracy theory in me coming out, but I figured someone on the script probably had a giggle about it.
Yeah. You know, speaking of open my eyes, anytime Vile did that cool eye thing, it was like...
That was
so cool.
that I always thought that was canon, and I was really upset when I saw artwork of Vile, and he never gets that. Except for
he did in X3.
In X3, he gets a single round like camera eye. But I always thought the original Vile had like the red eye thingy. So whenever I drew Vile as a kid in my notebooks, because I used to draw Mega Man all the time in school, I'd always give Vile the eye because it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
That noise. He's like a Gundam turning on. It's so awesome.
You know, there's one thing. What?
Just all of us doing this noise.
Yeah.
But there's one thing rewatching this episode that I really wanted, and you know, I obviously knew it wasn't going to come because you know I'd seen it before. But I think it would have been really great if either X or Vile like saw Proto Man. And they just made a remark. It's like, you look like someone I know.
I know.
Yeah, just something to that effect. That would have been so cool.
Opportunity.
Yeah,
like that's all. They didn't have to say, "Oh, my mentor and best friend and occasional lover."
Or like Proto Man could have like just like appeared, and X could have been like, "What?
Yeah.
Zero?" And
or just look at him funny and just
what are you talking about? And he like shoots him or something. Or
he could have just said, "Why are you? What are you doing here?"
He's like, "You're not on this mission," and Proto Man could have been like, "What are you talking about, bro?"
Yeah.
Bro, like, what are you talking about, Mega Dweeb X?
Mega Dweeb X.
Mega Dweeb X.
That's so a thing they would say. Speaking of Proto Man. Yeah, the 90s. Speaking of Proto Man, I was once working on a Mega Man Abridged script that I got most of the way through editing. Like, this is years ago. Like, and I wanted to make it a reality. And I thought the gimmick for Proto Man would be that he doesn't speak in words. Everything he says is just Scott McNeil whining noises, and punctuated with bro. Because Proto Man, if you listen, is so whiny most of the time. Like, like in the first episode especially, when Wily's about to blast Mega Man with something, and Proto Man punches the control console and goes like, "No! Mega Man's my brother! I'm going to defeat him." And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it was... So, we decided, when me and my friends were working on this, that Proto Man would talk, bro. And like that's how he talks for every single line, and we would just subtitle in whatever he was saying.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
That's how we wanted to do it, but it never came to fruition. But I still have the script, so maybe now that I'm a little bit more adept at editing and my hard drive won't die, maybe I'll come back to it.
That's awesome.
That'd be fun to see.
Let us know.
That'll be the next Mega Man.
Oh my god, maybe, I don't know. It would be a lot of fun to get back into that, but that's speculation. I just wanted to point out, while we're getting back to the story, I have in my notes, like, I couldn't help myself. I put it in here like 4 times. X is so badass. Oh my god, X is so awesome. I put Jesus Christ, he's handsome. He's just like...
Well, he's practically drooling.
I'm sorry, but like X is... He's just so cool, and it's just oozing with 90s awesomeness. It's radical to the extreme with like no E,
oh
X hyphen treem, you know. Like
speaking of extreme, like when they went to, I guess, find the cannon, right? And on the cliff, X is just straight up yelling, and I'm just like, why is he yelling? Like you'd think he'd. You know, they're being secret behind like some sort of rock, and he's like looking at it with his little vision goggles.
Oh, his infrared vision,
yelling all of the plans.
And she just kept looking at me.
I'm going to track them with my infrared goggles.
Maria just kept looking at me like, why is he yelling? I don't know. Why does he keep yelling?
Because he's extreme.
This is like 5 minutes of my life.
Another thing is, why does his infrared goggles pick up footprints? That's not how infrared works.
I don't know,
from
like
infrared in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, future infrared.
Or the heat
demand.
Call it
the heat vision or whatever.
Quantum, whatever.
Yeah, the thingy that lets him see the trail of stuff.
Skullbot.
Skulker thingy.
Skulker.
Yeah, Skulker.
But you know we didn't even talk about when Wily fires the cannon, and it pretty much ends there yet, have we? Humanity.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Holy crap.
They yeah. Oh, so let's fast forward up to that part. So long story short, X tells everyone, "Oh my god, you know, I'm from the future. We need to work together to stop Sigma, who sent Vile and his minions back in time to go steal the Lightanium." Mega Man X and Mega Man, damn it, I did it again, go out to stop them. They have a little bit of a skirmish, and then they fall into a river and they have to regroup. So Wily successfully gets the Lightanium from the undefended lab using a crane thingy, like a little crane game thing, and he powers up a super blaster. And now Dr. Wily is like, here, you can have the rest of the Lightanium rods. Go back to the future. I have my super blaster. Win-win. Nice working with you. I'll see you next time. So that's when Mega Man goes and attacks them, and Wily shoots the super blaster, which is the most epic thing I've ever seen.
It explodes everything, and he's like, and that was just low power.
I wanted to, since I was a kid, I'm like, I want to see what it was like on full power.
Yeah.
Because,
oh man.
Let me just paint a picture for you guys. Wily fires up the cannon, which is only pointed upwards, so I'm not really sure how useful it is as a weapon of anything else. Fires the cannon, and it powers up. There's electricity around the whole cannon, and then a massive beam of energy shoots out so hard, the camera has to take a step back and show you it.
And it's not just one single ray, it's like multiple rays.
It's like
cannon beam,
like the most epic Kamehameha you've ever seen. Like this thing would have definitely destroyed Cell. It fires into the air. X and Mega Man dodge just barely. And after it's done, the camera, like, it's almost like the camera is in shock, because it pans over to the Super Blaster again, and it's like bum bum, and like you can see that Wily is on an island. So the Super Blaster is kind of small compared to the island, but all the water around the island has been evaporated from the Super Blaster. I'm like, Wily, how are you not, like, irradiated beyond all belief right now? You should have cancer at the moment you fired this thing.
He was wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah, the anti-cancer seatbelt.
Yeah.
Anti-cancer.
Yeah. And
Wiley would invent something like that.
It was such an epic blaster. It was so cool.
It was really cool.
And he missed. And he's like, that was on low power.
He didn't miss. He was secretly the good guy because he was shooting down Erasure.
Yes, he was taking out the Europa. No, what is it? Eurasia colony? Yeah, the Eurasia colony.
Like Erasure or something.
Yeah, the Eurasia, like Europe and Asia combined.
I was just skipped through the story on X5.
The point is, he shot down the colony. He was saving the planet, okay? people.
He killed Dynamo in the process.
Here's what you didn't see. There was a time portal above where X and Mega Man were, and he shot the Super Blaster into the time portal so that in the future it would blow up the space colony, thus saving Zero the trouble. And so really Dr. Wily is the hero is what I'm trying to say.
He's the hero and he screwed his own plan.
Yes, he screwed up his own plan. That's how generous he is. He was going to let himself be captured and foiled so that he could save humanity several hundred years in the future, apparently.
You'd think just not building Zero in the first place would have worked better, but, you know, just shooting a laser
that's
into
true.
a time portal.
Now that you mention it, I wonder how they would have reconciled that in the Ruby Spears cartoon if they did it.
Well, I mean, that would have to get up to X4.
Well, no, because there's...
It sort of hints at it in 2 and 3, but...
It does, and it's never, like, mentioned, but I wonder if they would have hinted at it in the show, or if they would have just not mentioned it.
I mean, it probably would have, like... It probably would have never been mentioned if X4, you know, wasn't out.
That's true.
Just because, you know, like Proto Man's supposed to be, you know, neutral at best, or neutral at worst, you know.
Yeah.
But he's like always a bad guy. You know, you put them in one basket and they stay in that basket.
That's true. And I had heard in an interview with I forget what his name is. One of the guys, one half of Ruby Spears Productions. From whence they get the name. He basically said that they is it Jack Ruby, I think
that sounds right.
I think it was Jack Ruby. Basically they interviewed him and they were like, how come Proto Man's a bad guy? And they were like, well, we know that he wasn't always a bad guy, but Capcom basically advised us to make him a bad guy. They were like, yeah, go for it, because like they thought it would be cool for Mega Man to have like an anti-Mega Man to fight.
Yeah.
But their base wasn't around yet because Mega Man 7 wouldn't come out for another couple of years.
Right. Man, just barely missed it.
Mm-hmm. I think Mega Man 5 was the most recent game that had come out at the time.
Mega Man 5 being the most recent, it just makes the most sense.
I think that was the one, because the Mega Man
Proto Man
on
being a bad guy.
Mega Man on a Star, the
Upon a Star, yeah.
Upon a Star, the OVA. Mega Man 5 was the most recent one at the time. And so I think 6 came out during the run of Ruby Spears Mega Man. I'm not sure. But they weren't planning on doing a Mega Man 7. Like, 6 was supposed to end, and X was supposed to take over. Which makes sense why they did the soft pilot for X. But I guess the show just got canceled and they, you know, dissolved or whatever before any of those games came to fruition.
Such a shame.
It is a shame, but
I think Mega Man X was the most recent game when the show was in production.
Yes, I think it was, and that's why I think they did that. I'll have to look up when it was, like when the show ended, because Mega X is like a late season episode.
It's the episode before the last, so that would be in '95, and Mega Man X came out in '93.
Yeah,
so
something like
X
that.
Should have been relatively new at the time.
Oh, you're right. I didn't think of that.
But I mean, you know, a show takes a while to produce.
That's true. And you know, they probably weren't sure where things were going at the time anyway.
And it's just like you know, they have so much to draw from with classic Mega Man. Just, you know, stick there.
Yeah.
That's what most of the kids know.
And you also have to make X kid-friendly, because X is a more mature game by design.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, how do you make X kid-friendly while also... Like, it's really badass when you see X compared to Mega Man, but how do you make an entire show that's at that level of badassness all the time when there's no kid-friendly anchor that you can turn back to?
You know what they probably could have done? Like the way that the Super Mario Brothers Super Show did with Legend of Zelda. Because it would be like the Monday through Thursday episodes were Mario, and then Friday was Zelda. So it could have done that, like, you know, because there was supposed to be a season 3 of this of Ruby Spears Mega Man. So, like that idea could work. I'm just pulling this out of my brain right now. But I could see that happening, because then everybody wants to tune in on the Mega Man X episodes, because you know, that's the more serious and cool one.
And we're angsty teens. We gotta have that X.
It would have definitely fit in with like the extreme theme of the 90s.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could see how that would have been cool, but I feel like Mega Man X would have been too G.I. Joe for that era. But I can see how it might work, but I totally get why they didn't, because Power Rangers just became a powerhouse, and they were just like, yeah, we got nothing. Video game cartoons aren't going to catch on again for like a long time.
I can just imagine some CEO just being like, well, we're done, and he throws up all this paper.
Yeah, he just crumples up a design for...
I can't!
And you know what?
I
bet if... yeah, I bet the gimmick for the X series, like where Mega Man's is plasma power, X's would have been summoning the armor.
Aw, dude.
I bet every episode when he's in a pinch, he would summon the armors onto his body and, you know...
Oh, yeah, like a Gundam!
Oh, no,
or like a Power Ranger suit.
No, Eddie X would come out. And instead of giving an energy can, it would be an energy can shaped like a capsule, and he would drink it. And then the armor parts would come out.
I mean, Dr. Light looks like he's made out of water whenever the hologram forms. He just goes Ultra Instinct.
He just goes Ultra Instinct.
I can totally see that happening.
He's got a theme song when he puts his armor on.
Oh man, first of all, I just want to gush about how great the Mega Man intro theme is. I could only imagine what they would have done with a Mega Man X intro theme.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but what comes to mind is just the X-Men cartoon intro. Like, it's just so good. That's what I pictured.
No,
that did have a really good theme song.
It just would have been Super Fighting Robot, Mega Man X.
Yeah.
You know, just,
Mega Man X. They would have crammed it just like how Violet keeps saying Mega Man X. Like,
or maybe. Well, what did you say? What game was out? X5 or?
Oh no, it'd be like
Mega Man 5 was
2
one
maybe.
Yeah, X2 I think was the most recent one at the time.
So like it would probably like be like something kind of like the X2 theme or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, Super Fighting Robot is nothing like anything, and it's still great. But you know, I've been wanting to bring it up for a while, and I can't hold it in anymore.
Okay.
The coolest thing in this episode that X does is he copies Snake Man.
Yeah!
And it shows it 3 times. And
that
was
like, so cool!
Like, he's charging it up.
He's
charging it up.
That's what I thought.
And it destroys the cannon.
What a cool way to show that Mega Man X is, like, more powerful than Mega Man by having it, like... And I'm like, ooh, that's so cool. I got chills. I'm like, when I saw him copy that, even today, like, just watching it now, I was like, that is so freaking hype. That is the coolest thing. That he just copies it 3 times and he gets, like, a superpower. I wish, like, it was reflected in the snake that he shoots out. Like, I don't know, maybe it's, like, a bigger one or something.
Yeah, it looks normal, but, I mean, the things that it does are...
Yeah. It was still super, super cool. Mega Man X also does a Falcon Kick in this episode.
Yes, he does.
Really?
And it's animated really nice. He, like, jumps in the air, does, like, a flip, and then there's, like, a little, like, blur, like lens flare kind of thing, and then he does this awesome Falcon Kick, and it was so badass. I'm like, yo.
Oh, I might have missed this. I might have blinked and missed it.
Yeah, it was very quick, but it was cool looking. It was when they were fighting on the bridge.
Oh,
I
know what you're talking about.
Speaking of fighting on the bridge, I just want to point out a random thing that happened. So Mega Man knows that he can't defeat Violent Spark Mandrill, so he's like, I'll handle the other Robot Masters instead. Gutsman is like, you know, looks like our friend needs some old-fashioned help or whatever, and he grabs like a girder, like a pylon or something from the bridge.
Cutman cuts it down.
Yeah, and he goes
and he catches it
to smash Mega Man X with it. But then Mega Man blasts it, and like a part of it falls, and Gutsman just kind of goes and just drops it and runs away. I didn't know that was the I think there was one before that, but that was the second thing in this episode that made no sense to me.
Well, I guess when the plasma shot hit it, it knocked it off balance. I think that's the assumption there.
I mean, if it's shattered into pieces, I could understand if you ran away from like all the shards, but it only shows a tiny little girder falling off of it, and then
he's really scared of just tiny girders.
He runs away from the one girder and drops the entire thing, and I'm like, Gutsman, what are you doing? You're so strong, and you're doing this.
Oh man, I wish it just like that point onward, that Gutsman had like
the hole in his chest,
like an outline of the hole earlier.
I was just
like
thinking
it's
that.
it's got the part put back in, but it it
it
looked
had
like
the
it was just
little-
like recently
it had,
welded
the
or
solder-
something. Yeah.
That would have been funny.
Dr. Wily pulled out his his portable soldering.
Would have been more for them to animate though.
Episode?
He uses like the soldering pen to to close the airplane door.
Exactly. He's like,
Ridiculous.
Here, that's that. I'll patch you up real quick.
Go
and do my bidding.
Now this is what I call patchwork.
Oh my god, that's so totally what he would do. No, you know what? Patchwork sounds like a pun that like Needleman would make.
Oh, it does.
Like a sewing pun. I don't know. So this episode again, while it was amazing, had like again a few stupid things in it, but like they're forgivable. Like Vile and Spark Mandrill are all ready to go inside the portal. Like they're ready to step into the portal, and Wily's like, "You should get out of here. I have my super blaster, and you've got your rods. We're done." And then Vile's like, "Looks like you'll get your chance to test out your super blaster." And then, X and Mega Man fly in to go stop them or whatever. But what I don't get is why didn't he just run into the portal? Why did Vile and Spark Mandrill sit there for like a good 2 minutes watching this fight happen when they could have escaped to the future?
Because happy ending.
He wanted to destroy. Wait,
you wouldn't have gotten that scene where X shoves them into the portal using the levitating
thing,
dolly thing, and then they recycled a scream because they were short on time.
Yeah, but that part's like very anime.
It
like
was.
when it does the close up.
Yeah,
it was cool. What I don't get though is he's shoving them into the portal, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And then like it cuts to something else. And then it quickly cuts back to like Mega Man, I think, reacting, and then it cuts back to X mid-scream, and you can tell they just edited part of his scream, and he's like, ah, like midway, like it didn't seem natural, and I'm like, you could have just had him do another scream. How hard is it to get him to just do another yell, or just not cut back to it again? Just do a close-up on the portal closing and just stay on that for a few more seconds.
I thought that part was awkward.
Or do a grunt or something.
Yeah, or just anything, just not that, or just silent shot of just the close up of the Mavericks getting shoved. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. That was just awkward.
That's
but
pretty awkward. I was like, huh?
There's a lot of cool moments though. Regardless, I really like the dynamic with Mega Man and X. How X is like, that's what I like about you. You're the most optimistic bot I know, and like, I think that was cool. They were showing off a bit of X's personality. How like, it seems as though X thinks the future is bleak, and coming back in time to see like a much more lighthearted Mega Man, is kind of showing him like, oh well, like you don't always have to be all I must destroy Maverick bots. Like you can kind of lighten up a bit. So that was cool.
X was a lot cooler when he just took a chill pill.
Yeah, he was really cool. I really like that. Also, I like at the end, Proto Man has to save the helicopter.
Yeah,
Proto Man has like no lines in this episode, but seeing him do that was cool.
Wily is.
This is a broken
really
man.
Sad. He's like,
Can I just want to take some snippets from my notes. I forgot to mention this because we're just having fun talking about it, but in my notes I put this is so cool, X copied Snake Man and I peed a little. It was just that cool.
Mega X brought to you by Depends.
Yes, exactly. And I thought it was neat how Mega Man X jumped off of the Sky Cycle, and he did the thing from Maverick Hunter X. He like did the skydiving thing with his arms.
Oh yeah.
They do that in Day of Sigma from Maverick Hunter X. That was really cool. There's like
I swear Capcom like years later like just went back and watched the Ruby Spears stuff, and they
had to
choose things to copy.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's just so cool. All the there's lots of stuff that I see in modern Mega Man that weirdly enough, Ruby Spears did those things. So I don't know. Like I'm not saying Capcom followed their example, but I guess from my perspective, when I saw those things in like regular Mega Man, they didn't come as that big of a shock to me because I had gotten used to them from watching Ruby Spears Mega Man.
Right.
You know, just stuff like that was just they already did it, so like I was cool with it. It wasn't like a shock to me. So I don't know. Ruby Spears was really ahead of its time in a lot of ways. No pun intended, considering the subject matter. But also it was a little flawed. But overall, it was just such a good show. Like it has a big influence on Mega Man. Like if you're a Mega Man, I say this in every episode, but if you're a Mega Man fan, go watch Ruby Spears. It's really good. It really shaped how I view Mega Man as a whole. It's just a good show. Just really good.
I think it speaks volumes that we can go back to it today, like as we are, and just have fun with it, enjoy it and talk about it and still recommend it.
Yeah, there's episodes that are like so bad it's good and they're just fun to watch and just revel in the goofiness. But there's other episodes where, I'm like legitimately like, cheering for like Mega Man, like, yeah, that's a great adventure he went on. That's awesome. Yeah. And I wish that something like that could be captured again, but it just seems like we're going in a different direction with modern sensibilities and what kids want in a TV show these days. Oh, I wanted to talk about this. This actually came up just today. This is breaking news. I don't have the exact source on this, but I was talking to someone who supposedly spoke with one of the artists on Mega Man Fully Charged. Okay. And they were speaking candidly. They were like on an anonymous account, and they joined like a Discord or something. It was a Discord about Fully Charged for discussing it. So I guess they found it and were like, oh, I'm curious what people are saying about the show that I'm working on. So again, take this with a grain of salt. I don't have an exact source. I don't have their name. This is an insider who wanted to remain anonymous, and this is being told to me through a third party, a friend of mine who was there for this. Apparently, the reason why Fully Charged is so different is because Capcom told them to do it that way. Apparently, the original pitch for the show was to just make it look like Mega Man, like how you would expect. A faithful recreation of Mega Man. And Capcom instructed them not to do that. They said, don't just make it Mega Man, don't just copy what's already been done or what we're doing with Mega Man, we want it to be different. And I don't know why they would say that, because the one thing hardcore Mega Man fans have been asking for years is a faithful Mega Man adaptation to a cartoon show. Or a movie or something. Like a faithful all we want is a faithful adaptation because we enjoy the original source material. So Capcom apparently are the ones who said, make it different, make it unique, don't copy what we're doing, don't copy the games, just make it different. So they came up with Fully Charged. And also, that's apparently the reason why Roll isn't in the show. They wanted to put Roll in the show and also Bass as like a rival character to Mega Man, and because those are tropes that they wanted to work with. Right. And Capcom told them, no, you don't have authorization to use those designs. So that's why Mega Man doesn't look like Mega Man. That's why Rush doesn't really look like Rush. That's why there's characters who would be perfect to fit the role of these characters, no pun intended, like Roll or Bass or whatever. So you see analogs of those characters, but you don't get them because Capcom was like, you don't use them, do something original. So something along the lines of the main, I think it was the lead producer or lead director for the show, whatever, doesn't know that much about Mega Man, but the animators on the show are big Mega Man fans, and that's why throughout every episode of Fully Charged, you see little hints of Roll and other characters and because they know all the Mega Man community jokes and stuff. Like in the museum episode of Mega Man Fully Charged, there's paintings everywhere of like funny Mega Man memes. Like there's the "What am I fighting for?" sequence, just in a painting in the background of the museum.
That's funny.
There's artwork of Zero from Mega Man Zero that's been like obscured, and instead of like holding his regular Z-Buster, it's like a different handgun, and like his helmet is slightly different, but it's literally just traced artwork that they fuzzed over to make it look like a painting.
That's so funny.
And there's a portrait of Roll, like literally just a portrait of Roll hanging up in the museum, and she looks like she's a president or something. She's in like formal attire.
Well, good job, Roll.
Yeah, good for you, Roll. You going places.
Is that? I think I saw something a while ago about there being like a picture of Gutsman's ass in the background.
Yes, that's in the museum episode. Gutsman's ass is in the museum.
Fully Charged?
Uh-huh.
This is Mega Man Fully Charged.
I think it's a Cartoon Network show.
It used to be exclusive to Cartoon Network streaming services. You could only get it on like the Cartoon Network app. But I heard recently through our friend Protodude that it has now been migrated onto Cartoon Network. It was like on Cartoon Network in like a really bad time slot. Then I think it got popular on the Cartoon Network app, and now it's back on Cartoon Network. I don't know if it's at a more favorable time slot, but yeah. So all the animators are like way into Mega Man, so that's why there's all these little in-jokes. That's probably why they made Airman arrogant, because they know about the, can't defeat Airman.
You can't beat him, yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
So that's why they made him really arrogant, probably to play off of that.
Or arrogant.
Arrogant. That's pretty funny.
But with what you were saying about Capcom wanting it to be different, I can understand that part to a degree.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, an attempt to expand the brand.
Mm-hmm.
But putting so many limitations on it, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's like, how are you mishandling your own property? Like, that's why I look back at Ruby Spears and I'm like, why is this the most faithful adaptation of Mega Man when he has abs and is like 6 feet tall? Like, it's so weird that I look back at this and I'm like, this is the closest thing to Mega Man there is, even though it's so different. And here we have Mega Man Fully Charged, which was slated to basically be a faithful adaptation of Mega Man, which is something everyone's wanted, and we get something completely different on Capcom's wishes. It was so strange, absolutely bizarre. Like, and I know the people working on the show really do like Mega Man, because there are a lot of Mega Man. Like, I watch the show just to find those little Easter eggs. I really don't like the show because I don't like the direction it's going in. I just kind of hate it. I shouldn't say hate it, that's a strong word. I'm indifferent. But I love seeing the little hints they have. Like, Bert Wily, Mega Man's best friend, Albert Wily, get it? He has an episode where he makes, I don't know how to describe them, automatic pants. I don't know, they're like mechanical pants.
Automatic pants? Do they let you sit down in them?
I guess, I don't know.
You have to call the ambulance.
The point is,
I get it.
The point is, they're just mechanical pants that he made, and they look like the mechanical feet from Wily Machine 7 in Mega Man 7. There's like all sorts of little like, it's literally 1-to-1. It's the same thing. And it blows my mind that these animators are like scratching and clawing their way to get to the surface to be like, look, we love Mega Man, and Capcom's got them under their thumb. Like, nope. Like, it's so, I just don't understand what Capcom is doing with the Mega Man brand. It is so confusing. So, I mean, I guess it's just comforting that I could always go back and catch at least 2 seasons of Ruby Spears Mega Man where everything is exactly as it should be, abs and all.
Yeah. Or at least as it should be enough.
Close enough.
Yeah. But, let's see. Oh, we finished up the episode. Everybody gets sent back to the future, and Mega Man is like, looks like the future, I'm happy that the future has like a real hero.
Yeah, it's in good hands or something.
But it's a good ending. I kind of wish that was the last episode, but there's still one more after it.
What is that the episode after? Is that Brobots?
No, Brobots is the one right before it, I think. I got my list here. Hold on.
Because I know Brobots was leading up for a plan they had in the 3rd season to have Proto Man be reprogrammed by Dr. Light finally, and have like a Mega Man Proto Man team up kind of thing.
Yeah, Brobots is episode 24. This was episode 26. Crime of the Century is the final episode.
And what is that one about, if you don't mind giving me a brief synopsis?
I have no idea. We haven't recorded that one
yet. I guess we'll get there then. I don't remember what that one is. It should have definitely ended on Mega X, though. I wonder if it was planned to be last, but like the production on that one finished first. So
yeah,
just to get it out there, because they have to turn in something. They probably put that one in first or whatever, and the other ones were just kind of filler or something. But
entirely possible.
In my heart of hearts, Mega X is the final episode.
Yeah, and it's a hell of a one to go out on.
Absolutely. Mega X is the pinnacle of the Ruby Spears cartoon. It is really good. All of our talking and stuff doesn't really accurately sum up the hype. It's something you just need to experience. Like,
yes, absolutely.
If you're not watching this right now after watching this episode, go watch it immediately if you want, or maybe even better, Let this little review kind of go out of your mind, okay? Just kind of forget that you watched it. Just forget that Mega Man X in Ruby Spears Mega Man is a thing, and set an alarm for like, I don't know, like 2 weeks from now or something like that, and then go watch it 2 weeks from now when you don't have any expectations, you don't have anything in your head, and just experience this episode because it is just so cool. Go into it as if you're seeing it for the first time. Maybe you are seeing it for the first time. And you really get an awesome feel for Mega Man, you get an awesome feel for Mega Man X, and it really made you excited to be a Mega Man fan in the 90s when you saw something like this. So, man, growing up through those peak years for Mega Man, that was really something else. So I'm a little sad that I grew up through those years and just kind of saw it fall off the cliff. But I'm glad to see that Capcom maybe is turning back around. They're course correcting. We're starting to get the things that we want, except for Mega Man Fully Charged apparently, and hopefully something will happen, and Mega Man will make a big resurgence. I'm really hoping he does.
I hope so too. There's something about the little blue bomber that,
he's just universally appealing.
Like I didn't know anything about Mega Man until I met Jonathan, and I love Mega Man through him. Mm-hmm. Granted, I suck at playing any of the games.
That's okay. When
our fan base knows. I love you for still watching me play and like curse throughout it.
Oh, that's a Mega Man game in general, just cursing all throughout. It happens.
I have a soft spot for him through Jonathan.
Yeah, there's
close to my heart.
There's
it is my heart.
Something to like about Mega Man for everyone. There's people who enjoy Classic. There's people who enjoy X. There's people who enjoy Zero, ZX, Legends. Battle Network, Star Force. I say there's a Mega Man for everyone. No matter what kind of Mega Man or what kind of games or attitude that you like in your games, there's a Mega Man game for it. And Mega Man is just a formula and like a setup for a character that can work in pretty much any situation. I don't know how they did it, but they captured a great idea that can work in any time, on any platform, with any genre, with any kind of attitude, and there's a Mega Man out there for you. If you're watching this somehow and you made it to the end of this video and you're not like a Mega Man fan for some reason, go and pick up a Mega Man game. Think about what kind of games you like. If you want something more mature, maybe pick up like the Zero series, which is kind of like an anime drama, I would say.
Ooh,
if you want something kind of like, more mature but kind of like fun, or a little bit more I don't know how to describe it. Just Mega Man X is a great series to jump into for anyone. And if you
X is fantastic.
Yeah, X is like my favorite.
Yes, me too.
Hands down. But if you like cutesy stuff, pick up Classic. Mega Man Classic has a lot of really cute characters. Everyone is so much fun. Everyone has a favorite Robot Master. It's like collecting Pokemon. It's just awesome. And buried underneath all the cutesiness and all the fun stuff, there's a really compelling story. And there's like, really... there's good drama in there. There's things that, but it's not like so heavy that like you're bogged down. There's enough to make you feel for those characters. When Mega Man gets hurt, you feel like a little oh no in your heart, If you like adventures and like, unraveling mysteries and stuff, I say go for Legends. Legends is a super charming series. If you're a kid or you want to get into Mega Man or something like that, ZX is a great show, great series. ZX has this really great, like high action, lots of fun kind of story with like just enough drama. Like it feels like a rebirth of Mega Man Classic in my opinion, with a little bit more higher stakes. If you like RPGs, Battle Network is great and has one of the most awesome battle systems I've ever used in a game ever. And I would still be playing Battle Network today if they were making games. It's just that good. Super addictive gameplay, really great story, really fun RPG elements. There's something out there for everyone, so go and find it.
Yeah, and if you like soccer, we gotta bring up the best Mega Man game.
Oh no! Yeah, if you're a sports fan,
Did you know that Zach really likes that game?
Oh, I think you told me
Like
about
Drizzium?
this.
Aw.
You said there
He
was
would-
someone that you knew who unironically loves Mega Man Soccer.
Dude, like our friend, we had him on for a couple episodes. Zach from Grab Shiny. He first of all, legit loves that game, and secondly, is really damn good at it. Cause he turned it on a stream one time, and I was like, oh, this is just a goof. He's gonna play it for 5 minutes, and he's like, just keep scoring. And he's like, oh yeah, you just got to do the special move, just use the Lek-Man. He had all this knowledge. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I played against my friend once, and they completely whooped my butt. And for the life of me, I couldn't beat them. I did everything I could to beat them, and I don't know what I did differently, but they were so much more faster than me. And I'm like, this is so one-sided. I don't know how to play this. Am I not pressing a button I'm supposed to be pressing? It was, I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing, but I could never keep up with the ball, and they would just...
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I don't know. Mega Man Soccer is an incomplete mess, where Mega Man dies at the end if you beat the game. I'm not kidding. There's an ending that was cut out of the game, where you can use a cheat device or get if you patch your ROM, because there is a patch for it, which puts all the missing content back into the game that was finished but not turned on. There's an ending for the tournament mode, for the story mode or whatever. Mega Man defeats Dr. Wily on the soccer field.
As you do.
As you do. And then it cuts to Proto Man, who lands on a cliff somewhere and watches Wily's base explode. And it starts playing sad music, and then it has a little ghost of Mega Man face that hovers above the castle, implying Mega Man died after beating Wily really bad in a game of soccer. It's the weirdest ending. It doesn't make any... That's the ending they put in the game. I don't know...
That's why it was cut out.
It must have been. I don't know if there's, multiple endings they were planning, one for each character. Because that would make sense as, maybe a Proto Man ending. Proto Man's ending is tragic. Mega Man dies or something. And maybe when Mega Man wins, something else happens. I don't know. But as it stands, the one and only ending in the game, Wily's soccer stadium explodes, and Proto Man is sad about it on a cliffside.
Wow.
It's so weird.
That's my favorite episode of Ruby Spears Mega Man.
I'm surprised they didn't do a sports episode with Mega Man.
I'm very surprised too. Captain N did 18 of those.
Everyone loves sports and video games. Let's just mash them together. There was a sports episode of Samurai Champloo. I mean, you couldn't give that to Mega Man?
It's been sitting in their pocket for 10 years. Alright,
that was
we gotta
gonna
make
be
the sports episode.
Episode 1 of Season 3 for Mega Man Ruby Spears was gonna be a sports episode.
That's why it was canceled.
That's why it was canceled. They were like, alright guys, I've got a strong opener for Season 3. Dr. Wily creates an evil team of baseball-playing robots, and then they just canceled the show.
And on that note, I think we'll end here.
Yeah, we could probably go on all night.
So, thanks for joining us, my little Mavericks, or rock and rollers, whichever side you want to be on.
She's just saying that because she's falling asleep.
Don't be on the Maverick
Well,
side,
it's
because
really
Mega Man
late
X will
night.
destroy you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But
yeah,
we had fun with this episode.
watch this episode. If you watch 2 episodes, watch this one and Lion Man, just so you can get the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Both worlds.
Oh.
But, yeah, Twitch, thanks for being on.
Of course, I'm always happy to be here. As always, it's a lot of fun talking about my favorite cartoon show.
All right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it for us. The final episode is tomorrow. So join us for that, and we'll see you then.
Look forward to it.